Hey there, I'm Celia, a French freelance illustrator and full-time designer, and welcome in this new studio vlog. This week, follow my process doing some Posca experimentations. I'm testing lino cut printing for the first time and glazing my clay pins. I wanted to do some Posca, and this time I wanted to do something including something electronic or old school, like I've already done during some Inktober. So I did an old TV, and I like this line which look like smoke. I tried to do something with the background, but it didn't turn out well, and I didn't like it that much. When the leaves were in white, it was too bright, but in green it was too close to the background, and I tried to trace some lines around the leaves to detach them from the background. And it's not perfect, but I like the vibes of this painting. Then I finally tried out something super cool, some lino cut printing. I wanted to do it for a long time, and last week I did some research in my sketchbook and I found a concept that I was super excited about and I wanted to try it out. So the idea was that I love the lino cut style, but I also love colors and I wanted to add some colors in my lino cut printing. And one of my favorite technique is watercolor, so I wanted to do some tests mixing these two techniques. First thing first, I had to pick my design and to carve it into my lino sheet. I wanted to do something simple and that I could carve without struggling too much. I already did some small tests because I wanted to create myself a stamp and with letter in it, but it was way too hard for me and it wasn't even readable, so it was quite terrible. And this time I picked a crystal because I really love drawing crystals and because it's made of simple shape. I applied the tips that I saw on TikTok, which was put a color on the lino sheet, so basically paint the lino sheet to be able to see exactly where I was carving, and it was super helpful. I transferred the design on my lino sheet with tracing paper and I carved it. Once finished, I cut the extra lino and my stamp was ready. I prepared my sheet and painted my watercolor shapes, and then when everything was dry, I prepared the ink and started to print these tiny crystals. For a first attempt, I'm super happy with the result. The watercolor shapes, triangle and round, weren't super adapted, but it allowed me to understand what shapes could work better. I really love the blurry one, the ones where we are seeing the most the watercolor random shapes. I did some correction on my stamp to remove the small lines around the crystal and did another batch of prints. Every print is super unique because I did some random watercolor shape, so each one is completely different, and also because each linocut print is completely different. I did some tiny mistakes for my first printing, but most of them are quite cute, so I'm quite happy with the result. I can't wait to do more. I really want to practice more linocut printing. It was super interesting and I learned a lot and I love the result. And to finish this studio vlog, last week I did these cuties, these little clay pins, and now it's time to glaze them. I applied a UV reactive glaze which dry with UVs, and the result is super glossy and shiny. Now I have to wait for them to dry, but I already see how shiny they could be, so I'm super excited. And this is the end of this studio vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!